Welcome back to another episode of Murder, Mysteries, and More. My name's Kaylee.
My name is Desi.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell next to the subscribe button to turn on post notifications.
Before we get into this cryptid, we always encourage those who have useful information for any unsolved case to please report it to your local police and sheriff department. Legend has it that a mysterious black-winged creature with glowing red eyes has terrorized Point Pleasant, West Virginia residents since the 1960s. Many blame the creature for the deaths of 46 residents when the Silver Bridge collapsed. Today we will be soaring into the depths of Mothman.
Moth Boy. Mothman was first sighted on November 12, 1966. 5 grave diggers were digging a grave in Clinton, West Virginia when catching the sight of Mothman moving through the trees swiftly. Clinton is approximately 1 hour and 20 minutes away from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, the residence of Mothman. Mothman is a humanoid that is about 6 to 7 feet tall, has a wingspan of 10 feet at least. He has 2 glowing red eyes. Mothman's legend would kick off in Point Pleasant 3 days after the first incident on November 15, 1966. He is thought to inhabit the TNT area located outside of Point Pleasant. On November 15, 1966, 2 couples took a nighttime drive within the TNT area where they saw Mothman would be spotted. They sped over 100 miles per hour. They reported their sighting to Deputy Sheriff Millard Halstead.
November 16th, the deputy and both couples held a conference where the name was first said. Point Pleasant Register, a newspaper within Point Pleasant, published the first article about Mothman on the same day, and the name of that article was called Couple See a Man-Sized Bird, Creature, something. Later, at night of the same day, Marcella Bennett would go to visit a friend in the TNT area with her baby, where she encountered Mothman upon exiting the vehicle. Marcella had dropped the baby from shock, but quickly recovered and picked up the baby while running inside. Mothman climbed onto the porch and peered through the windows, and it would disappear before the police arrived. November 1966 and December 1967, nearly 100 people reported eyewitness accounts, and other paranormal and extraterrestrial activity occurred within Point Pleasant during this time. People tried linking the activity to Mothman.
Accounts describe Mothman as having an oddly shaped head close to the creature's body. Others describe the 2 eyes protruding above the torso with no head. Mothman is capable of incredible flying. The couple's chase going 100 miles per hour said that it didn't flap its wings once to keep up. The couples agreed it was a clumsy runner, however. It was capable of weaving through trees and immediately rising like a helicopter, which is beyond current solo flight capabilities. It has been noted that Mothman has not harmed any witnesses. Some believe that Mothman is more of a warning of impending danger, with the collapse of the Silver Bridge supporting this idea after many saw it there prior.
Now, wildlife biologist Robert L. Smith told reporters that the description of Mothman lined up with the sandhill crane. Smith argued that the bird may have wandered out of its migratory route, explaining its unrecognition since it isn't native to the region. With the extraterrestrial sightings being around the same time as Mothman, some believe that Mothman is an alien. This theory is given a foundation by the arrival of Indrid Cold, a mysterious being capable of telepathy that was also called the Grinning Man. On November 2nd, 1966, Woodrow Derenberger was cut off by a strange vehicle while driving to Mineral Wells, West Virginia. First being mistaken as a car, Derenberger would realize that it was a strange contraption resembling a kerosene lamp chimney. Indrid Cold would exit the contraption and converse for 10 minutes, talking about being from another galaxy, telling him to report the encounter to authorities, with other witnesses describing the contraption.
Others would be visited by men in black with translucent and pale skin, asking if they had encountered Mothman, and to remain silent on the subject if they did. They even received threatening calls warning them not to speak about Mothman. Others believe that Mothman had come around from the influence of the TNT area. The TNT area was constructed during World War II with many constructed concrete domes that stored weapons of mass destruction. When the war ended, the area was abandoned with the weapon chemicals leaking into the area and mixing with creature DNA to create Mothman. A few even believe that Mothman is over a 200-year-old curse as a result of the death of Chief Cornstalk and multiple of his tribesmen. Cornstalk had traveled to Fort Randolph to pursue peace talks with colonists on November 7, 1777, and would be detained. Cornstalk's son would be detained 2 days later when he went to visit his father. 3 days after detainment, 2 tribesmen killed a soldier, aggravating all fort soldiers to kill Cornstalk and his companions in response.
Cornstalk spoke these last words. I was the borderman's friend. Many times I have saved him and his people from harm. I never warred with you, but only to protect our wingums and lands. I refuse to join your pale-faced enemies with the redcoats. I came to the fort as your friend, and you murdered me. You have murdered by my side my young son. For this, may the curse of the Great Spirit rest upon this land. May it be blighted by nature. May it even be blighted in its hopes. May the strength of its people be paralyzed by the stain of our blood. This can be supported by lightning striking a monument built for the colonists in that area twice.
Beginning of 1926, Chinese locals had described a manned dragon flying near the Zion T Dam. The dam would collapse on January 19, 1926, with 40 billion gallons of water rushing to surrounding farms. November 15, 1966, Newell Partridge dogs started barking at Mothman from inside the house. Partridge went to investigate with a flashlight to find Mothman trying to call his dog back into his house to only have the dog dart off, not to be seen again. Partridge went to go grab the rifle but was too scared to face Mothman. December 15, 1967, witnesses reported Mothman sitting on the Silver Bridge during rush hour hours prior and during the collapse of the bridge. September 10, 1978, German miners were confronted by Mothman in Freiburg, Germany. Mothman screamed at the minerals and made them run away from Freiburg mine, which would collapse an hour later.
Throughout 1985, a bird-like creature with red eyes and a man's body was reported by Chernobyl occupants flying around the nuclear power plant. April 26, 1986, it was spotted before the Chernobyl power plant explosion. September 11, 2001, several civilians reported a strange creature flying around the Twin Towers. Those who saw the event would report the creature flew alongside the second plane as it hit. June 2007, reports concentrated on Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I-35. August 1st, 2007, I-35 bridge collapsed. In 2009, the Wanta residents of Mexico reported Mothman. Mothman stalked and harassed the town shortly before the swine flu outbreak, even being pursued by authorities unsuccessfully. In March 2011, 2 Japanese residents heard a loud screech and saw Mothman on top of the Fukushima power plant. They were pursued by it before it disappeared. Shortly after, an earthquake devastated Fukushima and the Fukushima power plant exploded.
Mothman cultural influence. Point Pleasant would hold the first Mothman festival in 2002 as a tourist opportunity. Group organizers chose Mothman to be the center because he was a unique creature and they wanted to celebrate the town's legacy. The festival is held every third week of September. The attendance of Mothman Festival is about 10 to 12,000 people per year. In 2003, a 12-foot statue was created by artist and sculptor Bob Roach. In 2005, the Mothman Museum and Research Center opened. Jan Harold Brunvan, a folklorist, found common elements in Mothman sightings, suggesting that something real had to cause the scares but was woven with folklore. In 1975, John Keel wrote The Mothman Prophecies, claiming that Point Pleasant had faced multiple precognitions, premonitions, and phenomena. The book would be adapted into a movie in 2002 alongside the festival, rekindling Mothman's popularity. And more recent media, the Fallout video game franchise had used Mothman plenty of times, even sporting dedicated cults around it.
Now, I myself actually went to the Mothman Museum and actually got to take a tour of the town of Point Pleasant. It's actually really cool. They took us out to the bunkers and all that stuff that they stored the TNT back in World War II. Very interesting. They told like a lot of cool, interesting stories, and they even told us the story about the two couples that were chasing the Mothman, basically. So we'll have a couple of those photos in the video, of course, and then we'll also have a couple of links connected as well of a couple of videos, such as the Silver Bridge collapse, which December 15th, 1967, the Silver Bridge collapsed over the Ohio River in Point Pleasant, sending 31 vehicles straight into the river. 46 of the 64 victims who fell in died. Multiple witnesses claimed to have seen Mothman prior to collapse. And then also the Mothman prophecies, My Name is Injured Cold. This other link we will post is a short snippet from a film about an American 1960s folklore, The Grinning Man, which we previously talked about, and he was unfortunately overshadowed by Mothman.
So Desi, do you think Mothman's real?
I feel like he's pretty real. I mean, like, I don't say that about a lot of things, but there's like so much evidence pointing towards the fact that he could be a real thing, or at least a figment of like something that resembles it, or even just something that's like a bird, like an actual just normal bird that caused all this fear in people. I think he's real.
Maybe like an endangered species.
Yeah, it could be an endangered species, and you know, people tend to blow shit up and out of proportion, and that probably is what happened here. Or maybe not. I think he's real though. And I think it's cool that they have like a museum and a festival like surrounding him too.
Yeah, that definitely is really cool.
Yeah, and like there's so many people that come and like join the festival and all this stuff, and they said like sometimes they even get like 20,000 people a year at the festival, which is insane.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Now to Reddit comments. This is by Morgan Bainfort. What's your opinion on the Mothman? Do you think it is real? Have you met people who encountered it? Sir Hoovington says, we have our own Mothman holiday in our house on November 15th. We call it Mothmas. You leave a sweater out next to your lantern, and sometime during the night, Mothman takes it and leaves a plate of molasses cookies as a sign that your house is safe from creatures of the night for the next year. We figured it was a fun addition to Santa and the Easter Bunny. That is a really cool tradition.
That is really cool.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. This person's name is Mothmanarchy. Despite being my Reddit namesake, I don't believe in any Hockham like Mothman or the Flatwoods Monster or the Greenbrier Ghost. I do think the tales are great for tourism, especially given the 40% of Americans now believe in ghosts and spirits and things, and is a fun way to keep Point Pleasant and other places on the map. But it's just weird and thriving, and I guess this person doesn't believe in it.
I mean, and people have their own opinions.
That's true, and like he said, like 40% of us now believe in ghosts, so there's still like a good 55% who don't, which I can't.
Meech says, I believe that Mothman was some sort of bird. Sandhill crane seems to be a popular suspect that flew into one of those concrete bunkers in the TNT area, which with those acoustics would scare the bejesus out of anyone. But Mothman was absolutely trying to warn people about the impending bridge collapse. He did not cause it.
El Jefe, I done seen him making babies with Bigfoot. Yak's blood. A litter of flying squatchmen. That's great.
Mon County man says he was in PP a long time ago. Since then he never calls, he never writes.
Damn. It's fucking Eminem with Stanley all over again. Deuster66, I'm from West Virginia and I've been to the TNT area and it's creepy. The Mothman movie is inaccurate. I think the Mothman had something to do with the government and TNT. The Men in Black were also spotted in Point Pleasant. That's very possible. Maybe.
Delita says, I think something happened. I don't think back in the 60s people would go to the police as a prank. Maybe the military was involved, but it was not a big bird. I have Mothman poster in my office. He is good for the state. Gray Barker may have added to what people saw, and he was a hoaxer.
Yeah.
That is a good point.
That is a good point. Also, it could have been a fear-monger tactic, to be honest, by the government itself.
True.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
The military does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of suspicious stuff that they're not supposed to, but they do it anyways.
Du Bleu Poo says, it's the curse of Chief Cornstalk, my ancestor.
Damn. Slim Wit. I like the theory that it was some experimental military flight suit. Imagine. You're going insane over something that the military did. Normal.
Food Eater 81 can't fly for shit.
Can't fly for shit. That's great. Oh, Stock Direction 1794. He's my uncle. Puts on a suit to scare those rascal teenagers that stay out late.
Nah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I feel like every uncle or dad kind of does that.
Same.
For fun. For shits and giggles, I guess. I don't know.
Kill more wolves. How about let's not kill more wolves? He's a pretty cool chap, to be honest. Real down-to-earth guy, despite all the fame.
Oh. Mothman just wants to be a normal person like the rest of us.
Yep, he just wants to be our friend.
He just wants friends. Everyone hates him.
Now to the next Reddit post. It's by Resertine. I don't understand. Still ongoing discussions about Mothman. And then Truth is Fiction YT. Mothman is a fun pop cryptid with an interesting story and a ton of exposure, thanks to John Kill. He even has a statue. That's why, to this day, he's still so popular. Yeah, there's so much information about him.
He has a whole town dedicated to him. That's crazy, dude.
Crazy.
I don't think he'll ever not be popular.
Chiba says, just depends if you trust a witness judgment to distinguish a 12-inch tall owl from a 6-foot man with glowing red eyes. If you throw out any witness testimonies regarding cryptids, you aren't going to have much to research. If you ask me what they saw, assuming that they didn't just make it up, it could have been some sort of Cold War era military jetpack suit being tested, considering the wings didn't flap when it took off. So clearly they weren't functioning the same way an owl or other bird would.
Deleted says, nothing wrong with not believing in Mothman, but 4 people in the same car independently giving the same account of being chased down the road by a giant flying creature is definitely not an owl. People know what owls and cranes look like. I mean, they do, but also, if it's an endangered owl or crane, a lot of people aren't gonna know what they look like, so...
I like this person's name. Whoopsie Fudge Stripes. So I'm not trying to be argumentative, but essentially what I'm understanding is anything that's been debunked by anyone only has one witness and lacks the history beyond one encounter would not be a cryptid. What would a cryptid still be by this logic? Flatwoods and Hopkinsville incidents were also believed to be owls. Bigfoot, Frogman, Chupacabra, and Nessie sightings would have been regularly proven to hoaxes or misidentifications. Even by this definition, out-of-place animals and still surviving extinct species like thylacines are just animals. Southern_dig_9460 says he brings in millions of dollars for Point Pleasant, West Virginia. More cities should lean into their mess more like the city.
They really should, though.
They should, yeah. I could definitely see the amount of money from tourism.
Oh my god, they make so much money, bro. They have all these shops down there, too, that are open that, sell Mothman stuff. It's wild.
Morgan Bainfort says, do you consider Mothman a cryptid?
Did you say Mothman?
Mothman. Now, if Mothman was a thing, yes, I would be scared of that.
Oh my god, I would cry under the bed. I would hide in my closet.
No Pythagorean theorem.
I'm going back in the closet. I came out, I can go back in.
Truth is Carrier says, yes, I believe in one categorization of cryptids. He falls under potentially paranormal creature with animal characteristics. Yeah. Can definitely see how it could be a paranormal creature.
Mikey Hap 1129 said, that's a good question. I would not consider it a cryptid only because there was just that short span of sightings and then nothing after. If it's anything, it was probably some kind of spirit of some kind. Maybe.
Yep.
John Misty Pass says, urban legends / folklore plus sightings plus possible animal explanations. Sounds they make in physical descriptions suggest a weird bat equals cryptid. Very true.
Very true.
Bruh.
Woolly Bullet says, he's a magic talking bug man with birds. If he's a cryptid, then so is Dracula.
I mean, Dracula could be considered a cryptid too, technically.
Technically, yeah.
Goliath Prime, no, he does not fit into any known animal taxonomy. He does things that defy physics. The only critter more unbelievable is the Flatwoods Monster.
The writer of the discussion posted a comment below. Most people seem to agree that he's more likely alien or paranormal than cryptid. I personally think he's connected to the MIB and UFOs, but that's my theory.
Oh my god, not the aliens again. Here we go.
Nope. Let's go right to Area 51.
Yeah, maybe they'll have all the answers. Maybe they won't.
Hot_nudes.
Hot nudes?
Yes, I don't know what y'all are on, but Mothman is by definition a cryptid. A cryptid is a creature whose existence cannot be proven by science. That's it. It doesn't matter if you believe in it. Frankly, neither do I. Does it change its status as a cryptid? That's just a fact. Yep.
I still think it's cool regardless of if it's a cryptid or not.
Right.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
I think he's the coolest, like, cryptid technically out there.
Fluffy llama pants. More like an interdimensional life form. A lot of people say yes. Area 51 dweller help. Yes.
Yes, 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 and yes.
Yeah. I would love to know, especially from people who have either been to West Virginia or West Virginia residents. Do you believe in Mothman? Or what's your theory on that? I would love to know in the comments below. That
we would love to know.
It'd be really cool to hear from people who actually are familiar with Point Pleasant or West Virginia in general.
People who even live in Point Pleasant with all the cool stuff that they have there.
Yeah,
there's so many residents. Yeah. Throughout time, Mothman has captured the interest of many cryptozoologists and paranormal enthusiasts. Every year in a small town known as Point Pleasant, West Virginia, a festival is held in celebration of the mysterious cryptid. Many believe whenever Mothman appears, something terrible is about to happen. Hence Chernobyl and the Silver Bridge collapse. To this day, Mothman leaves a haunting legacy behind. Thank you for listening to another episode of Murdy's Mysteries and More. Remember to always keep your eyes open because a Mothman might come and swoop you up.